As an artist, I love to draw, but there is always more to learn about art. And in this video, I want to talk a little bit about drawing in perspective. We've been walking through this How to Draw book. It's a fantastic book by Scott Robertson. And we're going to talk a little bit about the basic concepts of perspective and how your point of view can change your drawing. So let's get into it. What is it when we draw? When we're trying to draw something, we are looking through a window. Imagine your paper is this window and we are observing something in space. So for me, I'm going to make this. This is a sphere or a ball out in space. Our eyes are a camera. And so I'm going to draw a camera here. This is kind of a representation of an old style movie camera. Figured that would work as a camera. And so let's say we are that camera. And they're standing on the floor. When we think about a drawing, we start thinking about horizon line, right? You've heard that term horizon line, right? So I'm gonna put this drawing over here. So let's say this is our piece of paper, but looking at it from the point of view of our camera guy here. So we often will draw a horizon line, but where is that horizon line? What is the horizon line? A lot of books on perspective will talk about the position of the person or the camera as something called the station point. We have a line of sight is another word that we use, and this is basically a straight line coming out from the camera. And this is our line of sight. It goes right through the center of the camera. It doesn't go up or down. It's right through the center of the camera. Now, the next thing we have is the horizon line, right? What is this horizon line? The horizon line is not actually the ground plane. It's not that. It's actually at the height of the line of sight. If you take any parallel line, so like a parallel lines are two lines that are next to each other. They don't bend or curve or anything. They're just straight lines in the same direction. At some point, those parallel lines will appear to meet. And so what's happening is we have the ground, right? That is one of our lines. It's a plane. And then we have our line of sight. And if we shoot those out to basically as far as we can see to infinity, they will meet, they will appear to meet. And where they meet is our horizon line, right? And it's always, though, at the height of our camera. So for us, our horizon line will be up here, right? It's about the height of our camera, and I'm going to do that. How this works now is when we see something, let's say there's the sun, or maybe there's some other light source, and it's shooting out rays of light everywhere, right? And some of those rays of light hit an object, and then it bounces off in all directions as well. But one of those directions goes straight back to our camera. And then one of those rays of light down here also shoot out go through our piece of glass and hit the camera. And so this piece of glass is often called the picture plane. And so where this object hits our picture plane is where we would draw our object. So here, we're going to draw this. We would see this sphere there. And now here we showed that it's actually floating. Let's say there's a shadow here that's been cast down from this light. It also comes through and shows itself on the picture plane. And so that is basically the idea of what we're trying to do with perspective. Is there's a series of rules and guidelines that help you figure out where an object should be on your picture plane in relation to itself and the horizon line, which is the height of your camera. And so another thing that's kind of important to understand is that your horizon line can change. There's a couple ways that it can change. One of those is by raising the camera. So here, let's say we have our camera guy. Go a little faster this time with him. It's our camera guy. But now that our camera person is on some boxes, right? The camera is not looking down, it's still straight out, so our line of sight is still straight out. And our picture plane is also right here. And let's say we still have our sphere, but now it's down here. Now when we draw, our objects are lower, and I'll do the same thing over here. I'll try to draw it as if we were the camera. So these rays are starting to shoot down, are coming up, and so our object here is lower, but our horizon is still up here, and we might not even see much of that shadow anymore. So if we're drawing this, now we would see that we have a sphere that is lower than the horizon line and a shadow that's down here. Now we're not looking down. We're not tilting our head down to look at this, but we're just seeing that the object is lower than our line of sight, lower than the horizon. So when you look off at something, you want to always be aware of where your camera is. Now your camera doesn't have to be at the height of a person, but if you want to create something that has kind of a subjective feel, like as if you are a real person in that world, then it's maybe you want your camera, your eye, your light, your viewpoint to be at the height of a person, but maybe you want it to be higher or lower. So you can decide what you want to do there. So another thing that can happen is that you can tilt the camera. So here, if this is our normal camera, straight out, we're gonna tilt the camera down So here we're going to have our camera person. They're still standing up pretty straight. Now the line of sight is straight down. We still have our ground plane, characters on the ground. And what's important here is to see that our picture plane it's good to think of it as if picture plane is attached to the camera. So now the horizon though is still at the height of the camera. So if we were to look at this from our point of view as the observer, our horizon line now would be high up here, the height of the camera. And let's say our circle, our sphere, was still where it was before, which was kind of floating around at eye level. We might see that up here. But the shadow is now more in line with the line of sight. The shadow would be down here. So you can also imagine, let's say we had parallel lines that went down here. These parallel lines on the ground would always shoot back to meet at a vanishing point on the ground. So what we'd see here is the top of this circle, sphere, the ground plane, then down here we'd see shadow and those lines converging. And the same thing would happen if we tilted the camera up, but it would be the reverse, where now the horizon line would be low and the sphere, which is at the horizon, would also be low. I think, yeah. Because our picture plane would be up here, looking at a low sphere. All right. So these are just some concepts to think about when you are thinking about perspective. Now, I hope those were a little helpful. And we're going to keep going with these. And if you want to look back at some of the other lessons we did on this, I encourage you to look back at those. And leave any questions in the comments and let me know what you think. Hope this was helpful. All right. See you later. Keep drawing. Bye.